when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. Build a seed with the negativity.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of the Sports Report Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. William D. Morgan, and I got a cast of thousands with me today. First off, he's up here looking like Randy, Macho Man Savage, delivering my man 7 and 7. What's up? Can't hear you. You're still on mute, bro.
A little better?
Yeah, that's better. We can hear you now.
Okay.
What solution is that?
Sound all right?
I think you're just kind of soft, but that's just me.
Well, you can have a nice big bag of go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for you, 7. Yeah,
Listen!
let me tell you here, brother.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
There you go.
Kind of funny because I got a box of Jack's Link's beef sticks for Christmas that I opened up today. Don't tell nobody.
Oh, don't mess with Sasquatch. That's
I mean, you sort of kind of just like tell everybody else. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, we got a lot to talk about. First things first, I do want to get into the elephant in the room, the college football playoffs. I don't know what to say.
One word, it's bullshit.
And I'm gonna go around the room in a second. But I just want to say, for the first time, I actually agree with Booger McFarland. For the first time, I actually agree with Booger McFarland. You play to win. You don't play for ratings.
Nope.
You don't play for, at least on the college level. Well, now you do, but back in the day, no, you didn't play for money. You played for the game.
Yep.
Now, in college football, I haven't been college football in a very long time if you go back and look at it. Now it's about ratings.
Yep.
Now it's about money.
Yep.
And the whole thing that kept FSU out, they keep saying that it's because Travis is out. I don't think it's because Travis is out.
No.
I just think that the boosters got a hold of the committee.
Mm-hmm.
Some under the table stuff happened, and Alabama just automatically jumped an undefeated team.
Yep.
Now, mind you, people say, and I posted it on my Facebook page, the ACC was weak. But it's kind of funny. 6-4 against the SEC.
Yep.
It has more, and we have more bowl wins against bowl. We have more wins against bowl eligible teams than anybody. Stop the madness. Stop the.
It doesn't make sense how you can leave an undefeated team from a Power 5 conference out because that Power 5 conference is weak. Every argument that because I've been on Facebook the last 48 hours blasting trolls and people's opinions on it, and not to say that I'm proud of blasting trolls, but the three biggest arguments that I'm hearing is Michigan would destroy Florida State if they played. Florida State is not the same team without Jordan Travis, and the ACC is an absolutely weak conference. The ACC 3 years ago had Clemson 12-1. That right there, your argument is invalid at that point. Yeah, 3 years ago we're in a different football league, but they still consider the ACC a Power 5 conference. Your ACC championship game featured 2 teams in the top 10, right? Your SEC championship featured 2 teams in the top 10. So your argument right there saying that the SEC is better than
the ACC championship game, well, top 20.
Well,
top 20 because Louisville 14.
SEC was Bama and Georgia 5
Yep,
and 8 when they
Yep, yep.
were 5-1 when they played, or
Yep, yep.
sorry, 8-1 when they played, and then it was Louisville, I think, at 4, and then or Louisville at 10, and then FSU at 4, and then Washington and Oregon. The Pac-12 championship was actually top 5 because it was 3 and 5 going at it. So your argument right there is invalid that the ACC was weaker than the ACC because you had 2 top 10 teams then. So that's argument number 1 gone. Yeah, the Florida State Seminoles are a completely different team without Jordan Travis. If anything, they're a better team because now they don't have their superstar quarterback coming on. And the fact that it's, oh, Miami's going to completely destroy Florida State, that's why we're not going to put them in. That's why you play the games. That's why the upsets happen, right? There have been plenty of times where the 4th-seeded team have gone in and beaten the number 1 team. We saw Michigan get destroyed by TCU last year, and TCU wasn't supposed to be there. TCU was not on Michigan's level. TCU has no chance being in the game against Michigan last year. And all of a sudden now it's, oh, well, Florida State is I mean, they're just not the same offensive powerhouse when you put them up against Michigan. And number 3, the fact I'm in a circumstance where all 5 of your teams that you're vying a spot for, Texas, Bama, Washington, Florida State, and Michigan, if they all have a 13-0 record, if they're all on the same level playing field, then sure, you got a dog in the fight where one of them have to sit out. Maybe Florida State takes the exit. Maybe Washington takes the exit, but they're not on the same level. Florida State is 13-0, and the fact that Florida State did what they had to do, there was nothing else that Florida State could have done. You can't change your schedule mid-season. You can't tell the ACC opponents, hey, guys, you have to beat this team to look better, right? I mean, any given Saturday. So the fact to say, hey, strength of schedule now is going to be the number 1 cause in determining who goes, it's bullshit because you can't make changes like that in the middle of the season. And I am absolutely agreeing with you, Will, that it is a money poll to put the team with the money maker into the college football playoffs. This would have been the first time that the SEC would have been out. And don't get me wrong, the SEC is a good conference. You can make the argument that the SEC has the most competition inside its conference. But next year, when you put 16 teams in your damn conference and you include Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, you got 4 teams right now in the top 12. Not to mention you have Ole Miss and Missouri who finished in the top 15. You're going to have 16 teams next year in the SEC. And when Texas plays as hard as they do, when Oklahoma plays as hard as they do, when Georgia and Alabama play as hard as they do, when LSU plays as hard as you do, now you're going to have the SEC going, oh, well, we have these 5 teams who all should be going to the 12 spots in the college football. That's the problem that you get when you have a bigger conference is you're not going to be able to get everybody together. Yes, it makes your conference look hella strong when you can go 12-1, 13-0 in that conference. But now so many people have their hand in the pie that you can't please everybody. So for those 3 reasons, those are the 3 big arguments that I'm seeing on the social feeds. You can't say anything to disregard Florida State over Alabama. The only thing you can say is, hey, Alabama went undefeated in conference play. So did Florida State. Yep. Alabama's one loss was to Texas. Okay, so now let's take Texas out of the mix. But you can't because Texas beat Alabama. So on a head-to-head scale, Texas should be ranked better than Alabama. So I'm completely with you. The name says it all. The college football playoffs completely screwed the crap out of FSU.
Go ahead, Seven.
So I'm going to posit, let's throw something out there. I think the reason why FSU did not get in is because of what happened last year. The NCAA didn't want Michigan getting shown up by a team that was so much, quote unquote, so much lower than Michigan's level. The NCAA didn't want that to happen again. That's a powerhouse school getting their ass handed to them on national television in a championship competition. And the and the College Football Playoff Committee got embarrassed last year by putting a PUD team for Michigan to have a tune-up game before the national title. And Michigan blew that game. Because Ando is right. Any given Saturday, FSU could completely walk in and shut Jim Harbaugh's cocky ass down.
Exactly.
Yep.
That could absolutely happen with a third string quarterback. Why? Because any given Saturday.
Yep.
It is not to say that Michigan is not a good team. Michigan is a great team. That's one of the best college football defense I've ever watched.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not saying it's the best, but it's one of the best college football defenses I've ever seen, and I will say that honestly.
Yeah.
But there is no logical reason outside of the college football playoff committee did not want a power school like Michigan getting embarrassed again. Because if Michigan were to lose to Alabama in the first round of the college football playoff, it's Alabama. That's how everybody's going to see it. Because it's Alabama. They're going to get credit more on their name than on the recent accolades. They're the fucking Yankees of college football.
Okay.
But when you have a team like FSU, then it makes Michigan look even worse. It makes Harbaugh look even worse because they lost to a third-string quarterback. Yeah, FSU is from the ACC, which is a weaker conference. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what you're left with,
I hate that idea where, oh, it's a Power 5. It's a Power 5 conference. It's, you got the Pac-12, who won't even be there next year. Then you got ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Big 12. And how it's, oh, we want the Power 5 to be represented. The best schools from the Power 5. Until, it's Alabama, man. It's Alabama or FSU. Alabama, FSU. Alabama.
Mhm.
It's
and I'm telling you, because of what happened last year with TCU, Alabama got in this year. I think if TCU isn't your fourth school last year, and it was, another more widely accepted Power 5 school,
mm-hmm.
and I'm going to say it like that. That's not to diminish what TCU did last year.
No,
but if it was a more widely accepted Power 5 school, I think FSU gets a shot this year because of it being the Cinderella story. But in truth, the NCAA and the College Football Playoff Committee do not want a Cinderella story in the college football playoff. They don't want it. Because if they wanted something like that, the NCAA would have more things in place to prevent certain teams being overly stacked. There would have been a reasonable system for making sure players got taken care of before the NIL happened and took everything absolutely fucking crazy. There would be more intelligent rules and restrictions around the transfer portal. But because the NCAA has their heads so far up their ass, they are not prepared for the way that the world is changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is their way of being defiant, despite the fact that here's the thing. The SEC is still a Power 5 conference. The SEC has some talent. But the SEC is not as good as it was before. Mm-hmm. Why? Because of NIL and the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Every SEC school before the transfer portal had 3 lines deep of 5-star talent. Now, those 5-star guys can transfer to another Power 5 school that has needed their position and actually compete to start. They don't have to rely on an injury.
We saw that same thing yesterday. Happened last night.
I'm telling you, because of the lack of preparation by the NCAA for these type of scenarios, and what existing the way it does in a much less regulated and intelligent format than it should be, because we're still in the early years of the NIL deals and of the transfer portal. The College Football Playoff Committee put their foot down and put an SEC school in that wasn't deserving of it over an FSU team that fucking earned it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say on it.
There's what hurts me the most, because I agree with the other 3 teams. I agree with Michigan, Washington, and Texas getting in.
I don't think anybody disagrees with any of those teams.
So the problem is, what's the point of having the coaches poll and the APP if you're not going to utilize them in making the decisions for for your college football playoffs?
Marketing. It's marketing.
Yep.
That's it. That's all those have ever been is marketing. Come on. Now. That's all it's ever been.
I'm sorry, man. I don't.
Ando,
Yeah,
this is
I
all,
don't know.
this is all it is. And then,
I don't-
when you
I don't-
have,
I don't-
and then when you have, and I'll say it again. When you have Paul
Mhm.
Feinbaum out there, not
Oh,
giving,
dude, that
not
dude-
giving credit to any other school out there, and then you got Stephen A. Smith backing his ass up. Alabama. It's just
Well, Paul Feinbaum can pardon my French, and if we get demonetized, I apologize.
You're fine.
But Paul Feinbaum can suck a dick.
Exactly.
Dude. After what he said, I saw a video of him today saying that people can shut up about FSU. No, you go fuck yourself, man. You're like 80 years old and the creep kicked her on ESPN. Go find a ditch. Seriously, man.
And here's the thing. I'm not going to defend I'm not going to say I like that the coaches poll and those things are for marketing because they should hold weight. But they don't.
Mhm.
They don't. The NCAA has and always will do whatever the fuck they want. And that's the ultimate truth.
And
It's
that's a good
never gonna
point.
change.
And that's a good point because right now in the other poll, Florida State finished at number 4.
Yep.
APP
APP, Florida finished at
Associated
number
Press
4
poll.
with
Yep.
1358, and Alabama finished 5th with 1329.
And this is what I'm talking
So-
about because there have been so many situations throughout the history of college sports. I'm not even going to just say college football at this point. Throughout the history of college sports, there has been instance after instance where the NCAA does whatever the fuck they want. You can't tell me the NCAA is the only reason Reggie Bush does not have his fucking trophy back. You can't tell me that it's the NCAA because I guarantee you, because it's Nissan that does the marketing for the Heisman Trophy, right? They're the ones that have the rights on that.
Yep.
You can't tell me Nissan doesn't often sit in a closet and touch themselves thinking about having having the marketing of Reggie Bush getting back his trophy at their fingertips to utilize and do what they want for a Nissan sales event ad. Come on now.
Yep.
That is
I
all
agree.
the NCAA. The NCAA doesn't give a fuck about anybody but the old nutsacks that sit inside that ivory fucking tower and control the entire multi-billion-dollar industry that college football is while being completely unregulated the entire fucking time.
Yep.
The entire time.
The problem, the bigger issue that I see is number one, no school now is going to go 13-0. Well, okay, so let me rephrase that. 13-0 starting next year because they're moving to the 12 team format. 13-0, it doesn't matter. You're going to finish top 4 teams. The problem now is there are going to be teams that are going to go 12-1, that are going to go 11-1, and do we tried to win all of our games, but now we're not going to make it because we're on the outside looking in and we're going to get screwed over like Florida State last year. The problem is by expanding it, all you're going to do is now instead of teams 4, 5, and 6 bitching that they didn't get in, it's going to be teams 13, 14, and 15 bitching that they didn't get in. Now, granted, I think this year, one of two things should have happened for this year. There should have been an emergency meeting saying, hey, we're going to throw the top 6 teams in. Georgia, Florida State, you guys are in the college football playoffs. Michigan and Washington, you guys are 1 and 2. You guys are going to sit the first games out. Then we'll do a random draw between Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida State. Whoever gets the draw, you play that team. The higher seed will go to play Michigan. The lower seed will go and play Washington. I don't think anybody will bitch and complain. It gives Georgia the opportunity to show that the one loss to Alabama was a fluke. It can give Alabama and Texas an opportunity to beat the shit out of each other like they did, week 5 of college football. It gives Florida State a chance to prove whether playing Texas, Alabama, or Georgia, hey, even with our 3rd or 2nd string quarterbacks, we have an opportunity to beat you guys. Give us an opportunity and show it. Now, the only issue with that is now with it being a 16 playoff, do you still give Washington and Michigan the 2 byes? I would say that they're the 2 most dominant teams in the year. Granted, Washington maybe statistically and score-wise hasn't proven it, but I think Washington may be the most deserving because of the teams that they've played. I've caught a lot of flack saying, Washington beat USC and they're a 4-loss team. Well, when Washington played USC, they were ranked 20th in the country. When they played Utah, they were 11th in the country. When they played Oregon State, they were 11th in the country. They beat Oregon twice, and then they beat an Arizona team that ended up as 14th. The way that I see it, they beat 6th-ranked teams. First off, can you not say that the Pac-12 isn't talented? Oh, Pac-12 is one of the weakest conferences. Fuck off. Number two, if they're ranked at some point in the season, they're good enough to be there. You beat them when they were ranked. It counts. So my estimations and my point of view, Washington beat 6 teams this year that were ranked. That's better than Michigan did. That's better than Alabama did. That's better than Georgia did. And 2 of those 3 teams are going to be in the college football playoffs. Yet you want to throw shit at Washington and say, oh, they didn't beat anybody for it. They shouldn't be in there. They only beat Oregon.
Yeah.
I have a question too. And I've heard this, all day today. Will Florida's strength of schedule isn't that good? Excuse me. Florida's strength of schedule was at 55. Alabama's strength of schedule was at 58.
Yep.
So come on.
No.
Here's the thing that I'm going to say, and to what you were talking about, Ando, with in that 16 format.
Yeah, 12 or 16 game or 12 or 16 playoff format.
The 16 format that you were talking about.
Oh, the emergency 6.
It is easy to give Washington the 2 because Texas is number 3. Texas Texas did beat Oklahoma.
Alabama. No, they lost to Oklahoma, but beat Alabama.
Okay, yeah. So Texas did beat Alabama, but they lost to Oklahoma. And I think Oklahoma was ranked then, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
15, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. It was, but they were ranked. I will acknowledge that Oklahoma was ranked when.
When Texas lost to Oklahoma. Oh no, never mind, because those don't have them updated.
That's a rivalry.
I can find out what Oklahoma was ranked.
That's a rivalry anyway. That can go anywhere.
Yeah.
That can go anywhere.
That can go either way.
And I mean, it was only a 4-point loss. Alabama lost by 10 to Texas.
This is what I'm talking about. When you look at who Texas lost to in Oklahoma, they were lower ranked, whereas all of the ranked talent that Washington faced, they beat. So to me, it's easy in that 16 format to give Michigan the 1, Washington the 2.
Yep.
And then, like you said, for 3, 4, 5, and 6.
A random draw. Because the only team that I would say maybe deserves a spot is Georgia at 6 because they didn't win the championship, but they've been number 1 all year, so that's got to count for something. So when Texas beat Alabama the second week of the college football season, Texas was ranked 11th. Alabama was ranked 3rd. Texas won that game 34-24. And then when Texas lost to Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout, Texas was 3rd and Oklahoma was 12th.
Okay. So, all right. So they were a little higher than 15, but that is still a ranked game.
Yep.
Washington beat everybody, ranked or not, that they faced. Yeah. Washington gets that second seed. That's and to argue against that, it shows how ill-informed you are of the actual talent that Washington has faced.
Yeah. So here's who Washington beat. If we want to go over like the fact that they didn't beat anybody. Yes, they beat Tulsa, and yes, they beat Michigan State. Michigan State was struggling at that point. They beat Cal. They beat Arizona before Arizona got going. They beat the eventual Mountain West champions in Boise State. They beat number 8 Oregon. They struggled against Arizona State. I'll give you that. They beat Stanford. They beat number 20 USC. They beat number 18 Utah. They beat number 11 Oregon on the road. They beat USC and Oregon State both on the road. And then they beat Washington State. And then they beat number 5 Oregon. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You beat 5 ranked teams, and then you beat another conference champion. You can't say Washington doesn't deserve to be there.
No, and that's my point though. Is with that is it's easy to give Washington the 2, but ultimately here's the flaw in your grand plan that actually has merit. It has logic, which means it operates outside of the scope of understanding that the NCAA can handle. It makes too much fucking sense.
Yep.
And the other thing is everybody's excited about the expansion in the playoff next year, more teams. Y'all realize this means SEC teams are going to the playoffs every year, right? Regardless of whether they're qualified or not. The NCAA is beating off at the chance to have 6 SEC teams in the playoffs because that's where they get their ratings from. I guarantee you it's going to fucking happen.
Yep. Hold on. Let me look at the rankings right now. Hold on. Because if they did the 12-team format right now based off of the college football rankings, they would have
4 SEC teams by themselves, guaranteed.
Alabama, Georgia, Missouri, Ole Miss, and then they would have LSU on the outside looking in. Now, if we want to play off of the stereotype of next year, they actually would have 5 because they have Texas that's moving to the SEC as well.
So I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And it comes down to the fact that the NCAA doesn't give a fuck about anything but money.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's not about good football or integrity, unless it's a student that does something wrong. And then it's definitely about,
and here's another argument that I got off my Facebook ranting the last 48 hours. I'm getting arguments that Michigan shouldn't be there because of the cheating scandal that they had with Coach Harbaugh. Now, originally, I was like, okay, that may have some merit. But after talking to my sister, and bless her heart, because she knows more about college football than I expected her to, so I'll give her a shout out there. You should not punish the college team, just the coach and the university itself, if the foundations are true. Now, Michigan admitted that there was somebody there. They got the dude fired and pushed off of campus. Jim Harbaugh announced it, and he served his punishment. In that case right there, if that is the case, and that's all done and fine with, and the Big Ten is okay with it, and college football is okay with it, then at that point, move the fuck on. Michigan is going to be in. There are people who are like, oh, no, man, Michigan shouldn't be in it, so it should be Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. The fuck, sure. Ohio State should be in it. Granted, they're number 7 right now. Good. Congratulations. You won 11 games. But who the hell did you beat? You beat Penn State. That's really the only team that you beat. And you took Michigan to 6
Speaking
points.
of Penn State, and I'm going to use the Penn State scandal as an explanation for why I think that people saying the cheating scandal for Michigan should bar them from being eligible for the college football playoff. Okay. The students didn't do a goddamn thing.
No, they did not.
Students are playing for a championship. The students are playing for national recognition. If you want to punish the coaches and the university for their involvement, if something happened, I'm all for it. But unless the students were directly involved in handling the cheating is alleged to have happened.
Yeah. The sign stealing.
Because it isn't just about Michigan at this point. It's about when this shit comes up in the future, because dumb shit's going to happen again. Unless the students were involved, the students should not be punished. When the Penn State scandal happened, they lost bowl eligibility for like 4 years. Yeah. That is national recognition for some of those players that are on the fringe of whether or not they're going to get into the NFL or whatever their respective pro sport is. When in that kind of punishment. So unless the students were involved, the students shouldn't be punished. It's bullshit. I get punishing the school. Yep. I get punishing those individuals that were directly involved. I support that 100%. Yeah. But don't fuck over the students.
Yeah,
money or not, don't fuck over the students. And that's exactly why I'm pissed. Because those FSU men played their asses off through every single piece of adversity that was thrust in front of them. They won every single game. Didn't matter who.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna cut you off there, Seven. It's actually really impressive that they won the last 3 games of the regular season without Harbaugh, considering their last 3 games was number 10 Penn State at Union Station. They won 24-15. They beat Maryland by 7 points. Okay, and I thought Maryland was a good team this year. And then they beat Ohio State at the Big House by 6 points.
And that was a game.
So all of a sudden now comes back to Florida State. So Michigan can win 3 games without their coaches. Oh, that's good. Michigan's a well-rounded team. They don't have to have their coach there. But Florida State can't get in because they don't have their quarterback.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Your logic, again, another reason why Florida State doesn't get in baffles the hell out of me, because every argument that you're making for teams, you can make the same argument for Florida State.
And here's my thing too. And I mean to cut you off. Here's my thing too. Because you want to make sure that you apparently have all this SEC representation. My thing is this: what if Alabama loses? And what if Florida State beats Georgia? What's the point? What's the point?
Thank you.
Exactly.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, well, at least Alabama made it."
I'm gonna.
Oh, Georgia, our top two SEC teams lost. Oh, I guess that's man, tough break, man.
No tough
Do you
break.
want to
There
see?
ain't no tough break.
You want to see?
There ain't no tough break because if you go back and look
Michigan and
at
Washington in the national championship,
there ain't no
game?
tough break because if you go back and look at the SEC this year, it was a little bit of a down year for the SEC. So
was.
again,
Fuck,
the SEC is not perfect by a long shot.
If Alabama wanted to get in, they should have beat Texas. That's all I'm going to say. They should have beat Texas.
I'm going to throw something out here. And there's a lot of people that are going to look at me like I'm fucking crazy at first, but I want you to hear me out.
But I always look at you.
Okay. There should be government oversight over college football.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
And here's the thing. All of these colleges, whether they are private or public, receive government funds for student tuition.
This is true.
Yes, I understand that these athletes play on scholarship money 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yep.
But the institution still gets a large chunk of funding from government money.
Yep.
But the NCAA continues to go unchecked and allowed to do whatever they want. Yep. So here's how you have to do this. You have to change it to where the NCAA has government oversight so that when these decisions are coming up, they understand that if they don't make the right choice, they're going to have to spend hours upon hours sitting in a congressional building answering the dumbest fucking questions imaginable from U.S. senators that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, where they are, or that college football is now played with pads and helmets, and answer questions about why they made the choice that they made. And it's going to be public, and they're going to get roasted, and they're going to look bad, and we're going to keep grilling them until they make it right. Because ultimately, college sports, if we're going to look at what it's supposed to be, is about what the students are doing. Those FSU students did everything they were fucking supposed to. We teach these kids when they're playing professional sports about next man up. But when they operate under that understanding and still succeed, they get nothing to show for it because of an unchecked organization. And normally, when you are a multi-billion-dollar organization that has a large public economic impact like college football does, there is government oversight over what you're doing. Where is the government oversight over the NCAA? That's my question, because it should be there already in a deep detailed form where basically you have a handful of senators that have their hands up the ass of the heads of the NCAA and are keeping them accountable for their fucking bullshit.
All the NCAA right now is a puppet for people who want certain teams to be in.
And it shouldn't be like that.
It's like a committee is like Congress or the House or the Senate.
Yep.
I need you to pass this bill. Let me give you a little something to pass this bill.
Yep.
Let me give you a little something to pass it. It's ridiculous.
They gotta have like, if you're gonna have 13 seats on the committee, it's fine if you have 6 of them. Like, okay, there's what, 10 conferences, 10 major conferences in Division I football. You have somebody represent each one of the major 10, and then your next 3 need to be impartial people who either don't have any ties to college football or those that do, that have that reputable.
Agreed.
That makes sense. You need to, first off, you need to keep it at an uneven number, and then you need to make it so that however many people you have, the impartials need to rule over, maybe not necessarily rule. You got to have the ability to have the impartials decisions mean more than the conferences do.
When I was in college, when I went to Missouri Western State University, I was in a fraternity, Tau Kappa Epsilon, TEAC. And there was a lot of social, fraternal, and sorority organizations on campus. And so one of the things that was on that campus, it was called the IGC, the Inter-Greek Council. Basically, it was It was a conglomerate of all of the social fraternal and sorority organizations, and they governed rules as far as things like rush, campus activities, basically keeping each other accountable and in check. The head of the IGC is somebody that is not in any social, fraternal, or sorority organization. They cannot be affiliated with a Greek organization in any way because they have to be an impartial head that is looking at the benefits of all of the organizations in the schools. Why is it that 20-year-olds, because the system that's in place was come up by the Greek organizations themselves. They police themselves. 20-year-olds were able to come up with a more honest and functional system to handle the situation that a bunch of nutsacks with master's and doctorate degrees come up with. It's stupid. It's fucking stupid.
That I would agree. Plus, I like the idea of them having to answer, because if you put them on if you put the committee on a congressional hearing, names come out public.
Yep. There's got to be some form of accountability, and there's got to be some form of fallout for something like this. So, because Florida State, most of those kids aren't going to get another opportunity. Nope. The coaches may be moving on to greener pastures or maybe moving on to a different program. But like I said, man, I mean, what more did you want Florida State to do? Right? I mean, the thing that they teach you playing sports is go out there, play the game to win, right? Not necessarily, hey, go out there and completely obliterate your opponent by 70 points, or hey, as long as you guys put up a good fight, you guys did. Florida State won all of their games. Now, they may not have been pretty. Yes, Jordan Travis got hurt. Yes, the backup quarterback got hurt, but they still did their damn job. And you're not going to reward them. And even if Florida State got beat by Michigan, even if they got pantsed by Michigan, at least they there. You got to give them the opportunity. Right. You got to give them the opportunity to play. And if they did beat Michigan, then it's hey, this Florida State team actually now. Exactly. And see, and I want to see Florida State. I want to see Florida. I like Georgia, right? Out of all the SEC teams, I like Florida and I like Georgia. If Georgia puts up a fight and beats Florida State, I'm okay with that. But I'd like to see Florida edge out Georgia, right? 24-27, 30-21, something like that. A really close game. And then I just want to see Michigan beat the pants out of Alabama. Because then that committee is going to be like,
we made a mistake.
We fucked up. Well, at least Alabama got in, right? But I hate that people are saying, it needs to be Texas and Bama in the national championship game. No, it doesn't, man. You're counting right there. You're counting out the two best teams in college football, and the people who continually count them out are the ones that are going to be surprised when Michigan and Washington come to play, right? I'm going to say I really wish Washington was playing in the Rose Bowl against Texas. I think Washington playing at the Coliseum at the Rose Bowl holds so much more just classic nostalgia. And we may not see that again with Washington going to the Big Ten, right? So this should have been the opportunity where it's like, hey, Washington, you won the Pac-12. Here's the Rose Bowl. Just like if you won the Pac-12 back in the day. Mm-hmm. So
I think it's incredible too that you put it. To me, this game against Georgia is the hand-me-down game, because you actually put Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Hand-me-down game. That's all it is.
You saw the interview that Kirby Smart and Mike Norvell had, right? Where they had the interview where they found out that they were playing each other. Neither one looked absolutely amused with that interview. They were both like, dude, GTFO, man. Because they both, I mean, I can understand Georgia. I mean, Georgia has a small dog in the fight. They were number one throughout the year. Had Texas lost or had Michigan lost, you can make the argument to put Georgia in, right? I can make the argument that they're the fifth best team in college football right now. But Florida State really should have been in it, man. And you can't have Alabama play Georgia for another shot at an SEC game in a bowl game. I mean, I think it'd be fun to see him play again. A lot of people really seem to enjoy the game. I wasn't one of them. It wasn't my cup of tea. But I mean, like looking at the top, even the top 10, if you put Florida State up against Michigan and Texas against Washington in the college football playoffs, you can have Alabama against Ohio State. You can have Alabama against Oregon. You could run Georgia and Ohio State. You could run Oklahoma and Georgia. You could run Alabama and Ohio State. I mean, there's so many good matchups.
You still get your ratings.
Exactly.
Your ratings.
So for them to say that the SEC has to be in it because the money's being passed under the table like that, it destroys the integrity of college football, which is just going to make it that much harder for people to want to watch. I think because people will want to see Alabama on both sides of the coin. Hey, or Roll Tide, they made it, Roll Tide. Those guys are going to be in it. They're going to be watching the game, hoping Alabama can somehow overcome Michigan, and Michigan are 2-point favorites to start. Like I said, I really hope Michigan. I hope Michigan destroys them. And then the game I think that people will be keeping their eye on is going to be Washington and Texas. I think for them to put Texas as 4-point favorites bothers me as a Washington fan, but Washington has played well as the underdog in the games against Oregon, and in the game against USC, they were underdogs against both teams. Screw it. Put Washington as an underdog. That's what they are. They're dogs. They'll fight and win the game.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Did you see Dion's comment?
Oh, there was
Oh,
somebody.
yeah, he makes me sick.
Yeah.
He said,
Well, there's nobody ever going to keep Alabama out. Okay.
well, no, he said there was nobody who was going to keep Alabama out, but I bet you they wouldn't have kept FSU out if it was Coach Prime.
Yeah. No, if Coach.
He took a shot, man. FSU is never gonna live down passing on hiring Coach Prime.
Yep.
I guarantee it. They will eat that. They will eat that L until the day the institution itself crumbles.
Didn't Dion go to Florida State?
Yeah.
That's why he
Florida
wanted
State
to
legend. Florida State legend. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. No.
And FSU has had a lot of legends, but he shines the brightest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He shines the brightest. All right, so let's go ahead and move on over to the NFL. And I got to ask a question. And I know you guys are going to want to talk about the Chiefs, but I got to ask this question first. Are the 49ers the best team in football?
They sure as hell played like it against the Eagles.
Whoop that ass.
Dude, they pantsed them.
Whoop that ass.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I've been saying it all year, but I think in the back of my mind, I've known the 49ers, if they could piece it together, I think would be the hardest team to beat. And with Brock being healthy and the weapons that they have between Debo and C-Mac and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, I don't think you can argue that they're not, right? I think defensively, they are a more rounded unit than Philadelphia. And I think San Francisco at this point, they have the opportunity to run the table. They got Seattle, who they beat last week on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't see why San Francisco aren't favorites in the NFC.
Yeah.
Seven, you think the same?
I'm just gonna say this. Last year, after the NFC Championship game, when the Phillies beat the 49ers, one of the 49ers players, I can't remember who it was, said they wouldn't have won if Brock would have been out there.
That was Debo.
It was Debo. Okay,
It
Debo.
was Debo that said it.
Yesterday, the Eagles faced an entire 49ers football team.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy.
No injuries,
Mm-hmm.
no two quarterbacks going down in the first quarter.
Mm-mm. But Hurts went down a whole hell of a lot that game.
Hurts he should have just brought a picnic set to lay out the picnic blanket, the picnic basket, because he spent a lot of time sitting on the ground. So he should have at least made a snack while he was down there.
Might as well have been Yogi Bear. Might as well have been Yogi Bear.
Right now, the 49ers are the best team in football. Could that change before the end of the season? Absolutely. But right now, the 49ers are the best team in football.
That was an amazing performance yesterday. Amazing performance.
I am going to say that does put more fuel into the fire for that Cowboys-Eagles game on Sunday night next week.
They're playing.
It does.
They're playing for the division.
Considering the Cowboys are undefeated at home and Philly's coming off
That loss.
for that loss.
Now, I got a question. Will Shaq Leonard sign
There we
in
go.
with the Eagles? make a difference in that game?
I don't think-
I'm
I don't
kind
think
of
it was-
thinking it might.
Was it Leonard that signed with the Eagles this week?
Hmm. You know the coach released him.
Yeah, Leonard. Okay, yeah, the ex-Colt linebacker. I don't know why I was
Mhm.
thinking Shaq Lawson.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think that he makes a difference when they face each other in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But I don't know that he makes that much of a difference.
The
Those are
Eagles,
just- right now, the Eagles and the 49ers are the two best teams in football as a whole.
Yep. You
Yep.
could make the argument maybe Philadelphia or maybe Baltimore.
No.
But I don't know, man. Just the consistency of Baltimore kind of throws me off with them.
Baltimore's solid right now. This is the best chance they've had of making a deep playoff
Mhm.
run in Lamar's tenure.
in a long time. Yep.
And
I would say I think
without
Baltimore's defense. I think Baltimore's defense has a chance to slow down Miami. Watching this game between Cincinnati and Jacksonville, I like Jacksonville if they can stay on. If they can stay out of their own way and no turnovers and whatnot. I hate to say it, but I think the Chiefs are the fourth best team in the AFC right now.
you're right.
So
I was not expecting that performance last night from Jordan Love either.
no, Jordan came to play, man. Hats
He did.
off to Jordan Love, man.
Yeah, he
Now
came to
I
play
will
last night.
say, Green Bay won that game. They're definitely, I think, the 3 calls at the end of the game, the 2 that were called and the one that wasn't, really affected the game. And I think the refs got too involved that way. I think when you get Chris Collinsworth jumping up and down saying that should have been pass interference, the refs screwed up. And judging by the angles that I saw with the Patrick Mahomes hit that drew that 15 yards unnecessary roughness, I thought it was more of a helmet to helmet, not him getting hit out of bounds, but that's just how I viewed it. But yeah, I mean, just, I don't know, man. Green Bay came to play and Kansas City dropped the ball.
Green Bay's offense, like the story of last night was Green Bay's offense. And I'm going to say it like that. Because if Kansas City gets even one stop in the first half,
Yeah.
Kansas City gets one defensive stop in the first half, just one.
Yep.
Just one. It's a different game.
Yep.
But what we saw yesterday was more of what we've talked about in the last couple of years with how you beat Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And that is that you keep him off the field and you slowly and precisely as it's been, as it was said previously by good old Hank Strom, manipulate the ball down. And that's exactly what the Packers did yesterday. That's what he was talking about. They controlled every aspect of that game, the entire game yesterday. Every aspect. So
I haven't heard that name in a long time, Seven.
Hank Stram?
Yep, I haven't heard that name.
Kansas City legend, my sir. Kansas City legend.
I have not heard that name in a long time.
that's
Oh,
You know,
shit.
what do
So I guess Trevor just got sacked at the Cincinnati 27 and had to get off the field due to an injury.
Oh, hell.
So Jacksonville has it 4th and 15 at the Cincinnati 27.
You better kick a field goal.
Yeah, I would.
Kick that field goal, cool.
Yeah. Damn, dude. My brother's in the
Kansas-
living room watching that game right now with him being a Jaguars fan.
Kansas City need to start. The Chiefs need to draft some receivers, man.
Yeah, no, their big issue this year is that they didn't focus on a wide receiver at the trade deadline. They could have gone for Hopkins. They could have gone for they dropped the ball by not picking anybody up. And I like Rice. I think Rice will grow into one. He's only a second-year receiver.
Mhm.
I don't think they have much trust in Moore because Moore wasn't on the field a whole hell of a lot. I think they have too much trust in MVS. The past 2 games, he had two throws down the field that he had chances to catch and didn't make it.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then Kadarius Toney, I don't think he's a conventional wide receiver. They use him more for gadget plays. You need somebody who's not afraid to run up and down the field and will stay on the field. And I don't know if that's just the nature of Andy Reid and Matt Nagy constantly saying, hey, only run 2 or 3 plays, come back, catch your breath. They need somebody to be able to stay on the field. And that was the benefit with them when they had Tyreek and when they had McCole Hardman the first time around, is those were two guys that weren't afraid to stay on the field and make plays happen. Juju Smith-Schuster was always on the field as well. So
I think I think they should have made a more concentrated effort to keep Juju Smith-Schuster.
agreed.
But I'm going to say this, and while I am normally as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, very much a in Veach we trust.
Yeah.
Right now, the situation that we're in is because Brett Veach is a horrible offensive skill position talent evaluator. He got lucky with Rashee Rice, and I'm going to say it just like that. MVS had drop issues in Green Bay. That's why they weren't really that keen on keeping it.
Mm-hmm.
Sky Moore has some unique abilities.
Yep.
But
Kid's fast as hell, but if you can't put the ball in his hand and get him into open space, he's not going to make a difference.
Even when the ball is right on his hand, he still has drop issues.
Hold on a second, Chris.
They did not make a proper intelligent effort to get a supremely skilled wide receiver in the draft or at the trade deadline. The reason that the Kansas City is in this position right now is because of Brett Veach and his inability to properly judge offensive skill positions.
Will, are you watching the game?
I'm just keeping up with it.
Yeah. Trevor had to be carried to the locker room with two people. I mean, it's not being carted off. That's good. But to get help with two people. Yeah.
I need sunshine.
I shouldn't have said
He'll
shit.
a bunch of
And then they missed a field goal.
They missed the field goal.
They missed a field goal wide right.
Damn it.
So,
I need to manage to take that for my fantasy team. Damn it, man.
but yeah, it's, to me, this comes down to Brett Veach. Andy Reid can only work with the talent he's given.
Yep, agreed.
And
This is why I am a firm believer on a coach, maybe not having full solid control, but I think that's why the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s were so damn dominant, because Jimmy Johnson as coach had a say on the people that he put on the field. If a coach knows what he's doing and can have a hand in picking players and can put the team together that he wants, that's a dangerous combination because that coach is going to know how to make that player work.
Andy has a seat at that table. Like, let's not get it twisted. Andy has a seat at that table.
Oh,
But I think that Brett Veach is trying to be so Veachian in how he does things. When in reality, in the first round, when 2 years ago, when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they should have drafted a receiver. When last year, in the second, third, fourth round, they should have this last draft. They should have been drafting wide receivers. Tight ends, offensive skill positions.
Right.
I don't think Travis Kelce's coming back next year.
Really?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think right now we're going to have to hope to God that Noah Gray can fill that slot.
I like Noah Gray. I think between Gray and Bell, I think our two tight end positions are filled nicely.
I like him, but I don't think Noah Gray or Blake Bell is going to be anywhere near the type of tight end receiver that Mahomes is.
I'm going to ask it like this, Seven. Is there any tight end that Kansas City can pick up that's like Travis? Mark Edwards? Maybe George Kittle? But those guys are under multi-year contracts, man.
Yeah, the problem with both Mark Edwards would be a better choice than George Kittle because he's more receiving.
Yeah.
The reason why Travis Kelce is so effective is because that scheme is built for a receiving tight end.
Yep.
You need to have a solid receiving tight end. Noah Gray is a great tight end, but Noah Gray is closer to George Kittle than he is to Tyreek.
I can agree with that. I can go with that.
They need to have a more solid. This is why I think my solution for this, Kyle Pitts.
Oh,
yeah, let's go.
You can't tell me that magic wouldn't happen with Kyle Pitts and Patrick fucking
hell
Mahomes.
Yeah. Way better than Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke.
Exactly. And that's with the way that Kyle Pitts has looked, because and again, I will acknowledge it's because of the shitty options he has for quarterback right now in Atlanta. But the way that Kyle Pitts has looked, Veach could get him on a very Chiefs friendly trade deal.
Oh yeah.
and then immediately lock him up because Patrick Mahomes is going to make him look like a black Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Yep,
I
I
go with
agree.
that.
He's athletic enough, that's for sure. All right, guys, we got 4 minutes left to go on the show. Talk about college football. Talk about the Chiefs. Any baseball you want to catch up on, 7, before you roll out?
One quick thing. There was a big trade yesterday between the Braves and the Mariners.
Don't mention it. Don't mention it. Don't mention it.
The Braves
You're
get
mentioning it.
Nick and a couple of other pieces like Marco Gonzalez,
Mhm.
and the Mariners get a couple of right-handers, including Jackson Kowar, who likes to give away runs like a crackhead gives away his mixtape.
Mhm.
Look,
Dude,
Kowar,
it's
we
I
are
don't
north of 9. There is no other accurate way to describe what he does. in
Oh
the
my
fucking
goodness.
know, dude. It's
I'm
it's
sorry.
bad, man. I mean, just
The Mariners,
Mariners-
are marginally worse in one trade.
the Mariners came into the offseason, what was it, needing DH, I think DH, third base, and like maybe an outfielder they needed help with. And then with the pieces that they're giving away,
They do need
now they need help in the outfield for 2 pitchers who may or may not make the rotation. I don't
He don't make no sense.
understand what management is doing with the Mariners.
It makes no
they get
sense.
to a good position and they fuck it up
Yep.
every time. Every time.
Every time.
And the Braves get faster and they get a better bat.
Yep.
And that's just going to make them more dangerous.
Yep.
The Braves are doing again what they did to make the run in 21. They are quietly building talented pieces because next year they're going to have one of the youngest aces in the league, with Spencer Strider, the sexiest mustache in baseball. They're going to have a lineup that will be looked at as above average, but I guarantee you will actually be as efficient at scoring, if not more efficient, than that vaunted Dodgers lineup.
Yeah.
The Braves are going to be fucking nasty next year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right, you guys.
And the
let's go
Mariners are
around.
probably going to look like poop again.
Yep.
All right, let's go around the room. See what everybody's got going on this week, and then we'll roll out of here. Ando, what you got going on this week, bro?
Sleep. I'm catching
There you
up on sleep. Retail is kicking my ass on this time of year, and actually retail/sales. Being a phone salesman, I'm getting my ass kicked because of Black Friday. Yes, 7, that's true. It's true. You got to believe it.
No, I believe it. I work in sales too. You're
Yeah.
fine. You're fine.
So yeah, it's a lot of just kind of catching up on personal things for me. But yeah, man, I always will make time for the sports reports broadcast. And
job, man.
yeah, I mean, definitely with this week and my feelings about the college football playoffs and Paul suck a dick Fallbeim or whatever his name is.
Fallbeim.
Yeah.
Crip. You say he looked like the Crypt Keeper.
He does look like the Crypt Keeper, dude.
Hey.
The dude's like 80 years old, man.
The guy that hosted Tales from the Crypt
Mm-hmm.
looked like a gentleman and a scholar. Do not disrespect him by comparing him to Paul fucking Feinbaum.
Hold on.
That's offensive.
My apology, 7. I apologize.
All right, 7, what you got going on this week, my friend?
I am going to Wrigley Mansion for the first time on Friday night.
Did you say Wrigley Field?
Wrigley Mansion.
The field
go.
that the Wrigley Mansion is on?
No.
Okay.
My company's Christmas party is at Wrigley Mansion.
Oh shit.
This is
There
crazy.
you go.
So I'm going to Wrigley Mansion on Friday night and then probably getting hammered.
Right.
But
That's what you do at the mansion, right?
well, I mean, go big or go home. The one of the great things about my company, they actually pay for all of us to Uber home and go get
Oh,
cars the
They
next-
don't let you sleep at the mansion. They got enough rooms.
No, they don't want all of us in one place for that long of a time.
Too much vomit to clean up.
Because we all work in an office and we only see each other twice a year. So
Oh,
when
shit.
we
Okay.
when we get together, we turn up.
Oh,
Um,
turned down for what?
my boss is still trying to talk me into doing stand up at my company Christmas party. I'm like,
I can give you some inappropriate jokes.
oh, I have plenty. I write in my own.
Hey, what's the difference between 3 dicks and a joke?
Will can take a joke.
Yeah, Will can't take a joke.
Wait, hold on. You guys have to look in the group chat because I can't say this out loud. I definitely don't want to get canceled.
Oh,
Oh.
Anyway, I am going to be getting another episode of First Generation Dad, the podcast. Last week's episode talking about boundaries on setting boundaries when you're dealing with family and stuff in the holidays. It's a very important thing to remember. You are allowed to tell people to fuck off, just so that you know. That's kind of the gist of the episode. And I think I'm actually going to start working on a book I've been writing again.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I'm
Okay,
intrigued.
bro.
Yeah,
What about you? What you got going on? Nobody ever asks you that question, sir.
Oh man, just waiting on the Pokemon DLC, the new DLC to come out in a couple weeks. Been waiting on that. But and I'm uninstalling Raid Shadow Legends.
Didn't
if
get
you,
Xena?
and if you want to know, Xena ended up being part of the battle pass for $40. I ain't paying $40.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Screw
Nope,
you,
nope.
Raid. Screw
Yep.
you.
Dude,
Raid
Money
number one.
grubbing hose.
You're number one,
If
Raid.
we're going to support
number
money
one.
grabbing hoes, let's get a stream going on Modern Warfare 3 when the new season drops this week. Let's have some
There you
fun.
go.
Yeah,
There you
dude, I'm
go.
down. I got Call of Duty.
And the thing about it with Raid, they actually had a password for you can get Ronda Rousey, but they're not doing that with Xena.
Fuck,
screw
dude. It's
you.
Ronda
Screw
Rousey
you,
though,
Raid.
man. So
Screw
like
you,
I'm not
Raid.
gonna pick her up. Liv Morgan, maybe. Alexa Bliss, maybe. Ronda, I'm all right.
Rhonda, I would give Rhonda a seat. I'd put it right. I'd be right here, and I wouldn't say a word. I would just let her sit on my face.
You know what? All for you, my dude. All for you.
Off you,
You
dude.
know what? Hey, the shortest lines are the funnest. Y'all sitting there waiting 3 hours to ride Splash Mountain. I go ride the teacups at Disneyland 26 times and get a lot more for my money. That's all I'm saying.
Except I'm grabbing the churros from Disney World, man.
There you go. Them churros, boy.
I'll be watching you guys go in circles, my dudes.
Those churros are delicious. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you coming out to watch the Sports Report podcast, and we'll see you again next week right here on Restream, my friends. We'll see you later. Have a good night.
Deuces.